Mic test. Okay. Third time. My microphone is not yet working again. Sorry for that. Can you give me a thumbs up if my mic is working now? Okay. This is the third time that I have failed to check my microphone again. So I'm so sorry for that. Next time, I'm going to be placing a post it on my laptop that says, John, before you go live, you have to put on your microphone properly. Okay. So thank you. You know how I found out? A friend messaged me instead on WhatsApp and said, your microphone's not working. So thank you. Okay. However, folks on TikTok, which I'm looking at right now, thank you for still tuning in because you guys are also here. Okay. People are asking me from the top. I was saying a while ago, this session is going to be about, as you noticed, the topic. Okay. Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube folks. The topic is about pursuing side hustle or freelancing career. I think since the pandemic has happened, a lot of us have thought of what to do to augment our income. We've thought of ways on how to uh, put some variety and spice into what we do at work. And sometimes a lot of us don't have an option but to pursue a job that we don't necessarily like, but it we need it because we need to put food on the table. But there are also certain opportunities wherein we can perhaps pursue a side hustle, a different type of job. It could be a freelancing career in this case that we really love. I have a friend wherein he's an engineer and his job pays really well, but he's also into graphic design. And so on the side, he pursues graphic design because he finds fulfillment with that. I also have another friend wherein he just got married, has two kids, and they're planning to build a new house in Cavite. So he wants to augment his income, and a freelancing career on top of his full time job can be a solution for that. Okay? Wala daw sound sa LinkedIn. Wala na namang sound ba ulit? Someone says I had to go to TikTok because I can't hear anything. Can I get an exclamation mark again on Facebook if you guys can hear me loud and clear? Because TikTok folks are hearing. Someone's asking me on TikTok, by the way, do you have a podcast? Yes. We finished season 2. You can go to podcast and just search my name, Jonathan Yabut. It's called From Grit to Great. We've even been nominated in Malaysia as Podcast of the Year. Okay, so people are telling me there is. Okay, thank you. So gladiators in suits, now is the time. Please float your questions. As usual, I will entertain also questions if they are off topic. Once in a while, if your issue is has nothing to do with side hustles or freelancing, but rather is about your favorite topic, which is quitting your job, sure, we'll entertain that as well. Uh, if your issue could be a conflict with a manager, etc., we'll also entertain them once in a while. Okay. I'm gonna do attendance check, by the way. I haven't done that. So I'm looking at the chat box here. We have Gilen, Erliza, Chi, Press, Kenneth, Maria. Thank you for joining. Okay. I'm also looking at TikTok here. We have RV, Mark, Polian, Client. Is that really your name? Or Client? Klient. Study with Marky says here. Miss Clever. Miss Clever says almost finish your book. Please let me know which book because I have 4 books right now. Okay, someone's asking. Joseph is asking from TikTok, is it a red flag if your company has offered you, red flag po ba nung inofera ng company yung matatagal para makahire ng mas bata at fresh? Hmm. It's not that, so the question is it a red flag if the company has offered the oldies or people who have been in the company for the longest time so that they can let go of certain people and change them with a fresh batch of employees, probably younger? I will not necessarily call it as a red flag. There are companies that sometimes believe that the only way to be successful is to infuse a fresher set of blood of people that may have a different type of culture. So I can't blame them. What I will call out is that if ever they do offer redundancy or if they have to let go of certain people, I hope that they do it in the most legal way. Okay? Because at the end of the day, if you offer something to someone and the package is good, I think it's a win-win situation. Okay. Mabel says, "I excited. I got to watch from the beginning." Okay. By the way, is this a good time to do a live session? So I really forced myself today to make sure that 9 p.m. was a free time for me. Usually I would still work, or I would watch Netflix at this time, but we'll see. Is it? Can I get a yes, no, or could you suggest a different time slot? Otherwise, please let me know in the chat box as well. It is. Okay, Mabel says yes, Leo says yes, Marco says yes. Okay. So we'll find a way to make it more consistent at 9 p.m. or maybe 8:30 p.m. Yes. Lillian says yes. Cher says yes as well. Okay. TikTok folks are all saying yes. I'm not surprised because when I check my TikTok, everyone's live. TikTok is such a very young crowd. And so I would expect that a lot of people are also hanging out way late at night. Okay. Glenn from TikTok is asking, how do you quantify your work if the leadership doesn't have their metrics in measuring success? Ooh, okay. Two things. One, I haven't yet met any company that does not measure their success. It is important. When I say success, it could be, is it sales? Is it operations? Is it timeliness and submission of documents? Is it about the number of customers that they have served? It is probable it is improbable but not impossible that a company does not measure their standards for success. But if they do, maybe I haven't met this company yet. If they do, it's not a company that I would want to work for. And the reason for that is because how would I know if I can be promoted in X number of years, no matter how hard I work? How will I determine if my compensation is even worth it in the first place, knowing that the company doesn't even measure anyone's success? Okay. So I hope, is this your situation, by the way, Glenn? Let me know. Okay. Because I want to identify, of course, you can send me a private message if this is a real company. I haven't met any company yet in my life that doesn't measure anything at all. Right? Guys in the chat box, could you also please type, have you met anyone? Have you met any company? I haven't. Maybe there, okay, I think there could be. If it's a very small company, a family owned company, or a startup that doesn't have yet those structures, perhaps yes. Okay. Ooh, Miss Clever says she has read Everything Will Be All Right. Thank you for getting a copy. Available in National Bookstore, Lazada, and Shopee, by the way. Okay. Ooh, Jackie's asking on TikTok, how do you deal with people with low IQ without offending them? Are you referring to people at work? If yes, I do. My mindset is no matter how low your IQ is, there will always be a strength that I can capture from that person, and I will rather leverage on that person's strength so I can maximize their existence in the company. Otherwise, I I would put typically I would put someone in a performance improvement plan, and I will also give someone a timeline that they have to improve in 6 months or 1 year. Otherwise, I would also have to let them know that if they couldn't fulfill the requirements in that amount of time, then either I need to move them to a different position, a different department, or I will also consciously ask them, is this really the job and the career that you want to pursue? Because it doesn't seem to be aligned with your strengths or with what you're doing. Okay. Okay. Ryan is asking from LinkedIn, what would you choose? A fixed term contract, but inclined with your niche, or meaning your strength, or a full time contract, but but not so related to your niche? Okay. Okay. Can I just qualify? I would rather call it as your specialization, not your niche. Okay. Uh, this is me being biased. I would always still go for a full time contract. Why? There is stability. And in today's economic volatility, I don't want to think about waking up in the morning not knowing that this might be my last day in my job and I have a family to feed. So I need to cover that part. I would love to have that predictability. Also, I'm a believer that your specialization in life can always expand. You can learn something new. So even if it may not be related to something that you're good at today, if you continue your training and if you evolve your passion for it, I think you can be good at it. It could be your specialization or your niche at some point in life. Okay? So also full-time contract have will always guarantee benefits. Remember, if you're a full-time employee, you always have the benefits. You have insurance. The company will cover your pag-ibig, for example, or your SSS, or at least the company is the one that processes this on your behalf. So these things are not provided if you're a fixed term contract or if you are a contractual. Please take note of that. Okay? There are fixed term contracts that gives you full-time benefits, but most of the time fixed term contracts are considered as part-time or contractuals as well. So if you're after these things, then I would go for a full-time contract. Okay? Let's look for some more questions. Okay, JC from TikTok. Sir, pa-advise naman po paano mag-resign sa boss ko. Mabait po yun, pero need ko mag-resign dahil sa HR. So JC is asking, how do you resign? And yet your boss is a kind boss. So I've mentioned this many times. Two things. Number one, resignation is not an activity that involves permission. It is something that you do, and the company has no choice but to accept it. For as long as you don't have any pending requirements that you have left behind. So, for example, if you have a smartphone or a laptop that the company lent you, you have to give it back to them afterwards. But never, all other things, you can just simply resign. If you have a very kind boss that you're very concerned that you're leaving them behind or you feel like you're abandoning them, and so you feel like you're being a bad son or daughter, I don't think you should. It's normal to think that way for a few moments, for a few days, but please remember that no one else will take good care of your career but you. And so you have to think about what's best for your career. Okay? If you keep on staying for a few years, it will make your boss happy, it will make your colleagues happy, but my question is, at the end of the day, before you sleep at night, are you also happy? Perhaps not. Okay. So it is such a hard thing to part ways from the people that you have that you have built relationships with, but you have to be tougher. Okay, that's the only way. Okay, Ivy from Facebook is asking, what is your stand if the company you're working for does not have any clear guidelines regarding salary increments? First, unfortunately, companies do have the 100% prerogative on how they want to pursue salary increments. Unfortunately, these things are determined based on whether they feel that the employee deserves it. And the only time that the company has to adjust the salary is when it's mandated by the government, likely because of minimum wage. But for other things, you can't force the company to change their policies. It is possible that a company just can keep on pursuing that amount or that level of salary for as long as they meet the minimum standards of the national wage. And that's it, right? Am I in favor of that? Of course not, because a great company will always adjust the salary if the employees are worth it. If the cost of living has gone up, and if you want to be competitive because the other companies are giving better salaries, you should keep up with that level as well. Okay? So ideally, that should how a company should behave. But if you're saying that this is the company that you're working for, this is where you might want to reflect, is this where I want to keep my career for X number of years, knowing that I may not have a chance of having some elbow or wiggle room on how I can increase my salary. We all know this, by the way. The fastest way to increase your salary is to move from one company to another. And of course, that will open up a Pandora's box of debate because there are many downsides on job hopping. It is, however, technically proven that for every 2 to 3 years, as long as you have done spectacularly well in company X, and if you move to company Y, there's a high chance that you can keep on increasing your salary by 20 to 30% company to company. Okay, that would be my recommendation. If you're confident about it, if you don't have any issues with staying too short in a company, and also when you're young, because you have a lot of energy, you don't get easily attached with the people that you work with, and uh, you don't have any responsibilities, such as a family, which might be an issue of risk. Because if you keep on hopping, it also risks the chance that you may be unemployed in between switching jobs. And it might not just be 1 week or 1 month of job searching, it could be 3 months or 4 months, for example. Oh, okay, let's answer a very controversial question that I myself don't know how to answer. But I have a few thoughts that I want to share. So, there's a question from Nathan at Tienza, and his question is poaching employees unethical? I think it is if you deliberately knew that you were eyeing on a certain employee and you waited for that employee to be trained properly by that other company, and then you would offer a higher salary and then you would poach them. Where does this happen too often? In the restaurant industry. So it's very typical that if restaurant X is about to launch and they want to get the best waiters in town, they're gonna look for other good restaurants out there, wait for those waiters to be trained because the training is world class, and then poach them with X amount of higher salary. Okay. Uh, if you look at it from an objective point of view, you can say that this is free market at work. It's a matter of supply and demand. If you can increase the price and bid for the best price for the best employee, then that's how markets work. I do, however, think that you don't need to poach employees specifically. And because here's the problem, some restaurants and some companies do it deliberately so that they can weaken the employee base of the other competitor company so that they don't perform well. That I think is unethical. Okay. But it does happen. And this is the reason why companies will always have a clause in their contracts that says that you cannot move directly to a competitor. You cannot move to a direct competitor for X number of years. Usually that's 2 years or 3 years. Because when you also move to another company that's a direct competitor, you will end up spilling a lot of company secrets, a lot of company strategies, which isn't going to be good for the company that was left behind. Okay, John. Okay, finally, we have a topic related question. John Bilen from LinkedIn is asking, following Ryan's question, would you choose freelancing or full time? This I don't want to sound like I'm fence sitting, but the answer here really is it depends on the lifestyle that you want to choose. If you're after the liberty and the flexibility of time, wherein you don't need to be grounded to an 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. morning or evening shift, go for freelancing. If you also believe that money isn't such a big issue in your life because you're not dependent on a predictable amount of salary, go for freelancing. But if you are concerned that the supply of clients is going to be volatile month on month, there are months wherein it's so high, there are months that there aren't as much, then go for a full time job because at least you are aware that you can count Monday to this January to December, that if your salary is, let's say, 100,000 pesos, you know that that's how much you're going to get. Plus the fact that most full time jobs are going to get 13th month or 14th month pay. Okay. I'm going to flip the coin because I can also say that if you're enjoying a predictable salary, it also means that you're limiting the potential income. Because unless you get promoted, your 100,000 is what you're only going to get for the entirety of your stay. Compared to a freelance wherein as long as you keep on hustle, the more hours that you spend working online, the more time that you spend investing to hustle for the job, it's so sensitive that it can lead to a new client and therefore into a higher income. So that's also a possibility. Okay. So this is not a question of what's better, what is worse. It's a question of what is your lifestyle and what type of expectation do you want in life. And that will determine if a full time or a freelance job can work out for you. Okay. To give you an example, before I pursued entrepreneurship today, which is what I'm doing, I manage my own business. I have a business that is registered as a sole proprietorship business. When I was still working in Air Asia, after I won The Apprentice, my goal was that by the third year, I was pursuing already 30% freelance gigs. So I was in Air Asia in 2013. I stayed there until 2015. By December 2014, up until the end of January 2015, up until December 2015, I was already picking up the number of motivational talks, a lot of the research that I was conducting for companies. And then I told myself, I'm going to quit this full time job if it has come to a point wherein the salary that I'm getting from my side hustle is starting to be larger than my salary with AirAsia. And by that virtue, that means I will start slowly. How do I call it? I'm not going to say I didn't take my full time job seriously anymore, but I knew that there was going to be a point in my full time job that I cannot shine as much as I would want to. Meaning, if the typical Jonathan was, I will send as many emails as I can, I will attend many meetings and even volunteer in projects, I will raise my hand in every initiative. I started to slow down in my last year with AirAsia to the point that because I was slowing down in my full-time job, slowing down meaning I was still fulfilling the minimum requirements, but I wasn't anymore giving a full blast version of myself because I was now dedicating that energy and time to my side hustle. So before it was 80-20, 80% full-time job, 20% freelance. I was starting to shift it into 70-30. Then it became 60-40. Then it became 50-50. Up until on my last 6 months in AirAsia, I realized I was now earning more in my freelance. And I told myself, if this is going to continue for another 6 months, and I said maybe for another year, then I think I will have a stable supply of clients enough for me to say that I can now pursue this full time. And so a year after, when that trend continued, and I learned, of course, more and more, I quit my job. So from becoming corporate, I decided to become a sole proprietorship entrepreneur. Okay, so it is a juggling activity. Uh, Gladiators in suits. I'm going to be honest about this. And I'm saying this because it's been 10 years already since I've left. I am fully aware that I have been guilty, that there were moments in my career in AirAsia where I had to deliberately skip certain meetings, where I had to deliberately file for a vacation leave because I had to use that time for my freelance. I am guilty, and I will say this, we're in sometimes after 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock p.m., I would still be in the office of AirAsia. And I felt so guilty because I would do some emails in the office, not for AirAsia. Sorry, Tony, if you're listening to this. Not for AirAsia, but for my clients. Right? So that happens. That's part of the juggling that you need to do. And there has to be a point wherein you have to keep you have to be responsible for both parties. Okay. Okay, let's answer some more questions here. By the way, can I get an exclamation mark? Uh, are we relating something to what I was talking about a while ago? I hope we are. Okay. So maybe this is just me, but I'm a believer that if you're going to be juggle two masters at the same time, there will come a point wherein someone has to be sacrificed over the other. And the goal is, even if they will keep on happening, it must happen to a point wherein it's forgivable, not to a point wherein the mistake is so bad that it can cost you your job or the client. Okay? You will be late in certain meetings, you will be delayed with certain deadlines. These things will happen. You will miss out on certain dinners with your office mates full time because you have to attend another meeting with a client that is your side hustle. Or if you're pursuing a product business, you're selling makeup, selling whatever clothes or gadgets online, something has to give. You it is So are you familiar with the law of impenetrability, right? No two matter can occupy the same space at the same time. Something has to give. It works like that. Okay? Okay, let's answer a question here on TikTok. How frequent? Okay, let's do something that's different. Question here from Michael. How frequent should a company impose salary increments or salary increase to their employees, assuming it's a medium corporation? I mentioned this a while ago. Most companies are not required. It is their prerogative if they want to increase your salary. The only requirement that they have to oblige themselves with is that they have to meet the national minimum wage. Everything else is out of their volition. Do they want to be competitive so that they're not left behind? Because if they give too low salaries, the best talents will not even apply for them. Or they will lose talents because they are going to be poached or be pirated by other companies who offer better salaries. Okay? Ooh, okay. I love this question again from TikTok. From 30 something life. That's the name of the user. The virtual assistant or the SOCMED world is currently saturated. This is so true because almost everyone, when I open my TikTok, I will always see someone posting a video about their VA job, right? So it says here, it's too saturated. What else can we explore right now as a side hustle? Okay. Uh, I will challenge that statement. And I will say that it's not saturated, it's just that it's becoming a popular route for many. But I do think that the demand for VAs, or I'm not going to call it as VA, it could be like a commercial assistant. It could be someone who is operating someone else's life or business, an operations manager, right? It just happens to be virtual. I do think that the demand remains to be very high. It's a matter of finding where they are. It's also diversifying the platforms where you look for them. There are a lot of popular websites, but it can also be LinkedIn, I think, is by a lot of people are biased to think that LinkedIn is only for full-time job. There are a lot of part-time jobs that you can also pursue. You can also directly message a lot of entrepreneurs. You can also call it out, uh, crowdsource it on Facebook, for example. So I will challenge that and say, I do think that there are a lot of opportunities still for any job that happens to be online and is about assisting someone. It could be assisting them on their social media. It could be assisting them in their daily lives. It could be assisting them in their calendars, etc. Okay. If you're really gonna force me, though, if there are other jobs to consider, uh, accounting is such a big field these days. That is actually where India is trying to outsmart the Philippines because India, for a few years now, has lost the Philippines when it comes to voice services on BPO. So instead, India is gearing up on non-voice services. So accounting, legal services, project management services. I think that these are going to be the future of what Filipinos can take on as well. Okay. Can I give a prize now, if that's okay? Can I get a letter P if you guys are up for a prize? I want to give away tickets to our upcoming workshop. And as usual, the only gift that I can give to you guys is the gift of learning. So the first one that I'd like to give away, this is already happening this week. Okay. So I am going to give away. Let me see what ticket can I give away. Okay, this one. Speaking of someone talking about social media, okay? On, let me post that first. Okay. So on April 27, okay, April 27, 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m., we are conducting a workshop, and the title of the workshop is Level Up Your Social Media Marketing. So for 3 hours on April 27 at Fort BGC, this is a workshop for SME owners, for freelancers or professionals, and I'm going to be discussing some ways on how to improve your ability to expose your promotions online, whether you're selling a product or a service as well. Let me, folks on TikTok, by the way, you will not be able to see this. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to show you how it looks like on Facebook, just so you know. There you go. You see that? Oh no, it's the other side. Sorry for that. But it looks like this. So this is happening on April 27. I want to give away 5 tickets. Is that okay? The ticket is worth 1,799 pesos. Let me give away 5 winners, 5 tickets each if you're able to answer my question. Can I get a letter R as in ready? If you guys are ready. Okay, let's check. Okay, very good. So again, April 27, that is April 27 is when? That is on Thursday. Thursday, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay? So my question is this. Let's ask a social media related question. Speaking of freelancing for social media. Okay. LinkedIn allows you to make official connections. So on Facebook, we call connections as friends, right? On LinkedIn, we call them as connections, like first level of network, first level of connection, second level of connection. My question is, LinkedIn has a limit on the number of people that you can connect to. Tell me, what is that number? The first 5 people who get this right will give you will give you. Okay, I'll be generous because we have a lot of seats available as of today, and we're expanding the room or of the venue. Each winner is gonna get 2 tickets per person. Okay, 2 tickets per person. I'm gonna float the chat box because I'm seeing some numbers now. Ooh, you guys are very quick. What is the limit to the number of people that you can connect to on LinkedIn? Okay, so I think I got a few correct answers now. We got different numbers, by the way. The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, I'm waiting for it. Let me check if I got all the correct ones. Okay, I think we got it. The correct answer is 30,000. You can only have 30,000 official connections. What does that mean? Anything on top of that, they will not, they can still be your follower, but they will not be able to, how do you call this? They will not be able to see all of your profile and all of your posts. Okay? So, having said that, let me call out my winners now. So my winner on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, is, let me just see. Okay, my winner on Facebook is Michael Bautista. Congratulations. The correct answer is 30,000, by the way. 30,000. My winner on YouTube is Maybell Casiple. Congratulations. Answer is also 30,000. And then my winner on LinkedIn, the name is Syra Aquino, also 30,000. And finally, someone's asking, do you still work for AirAsia, by the way? No, I've left AirAsia since 2015. Uh, wait, where's my 30,000 here? I saw it a while ago. Okay, there you go. My winner for the, let me just check. Okay, my winner, the name is Kanki RS. Kanki RS on TikTok. Congratulations. Please send me a direct message. You all each win 2 tickets so you can attend our workshop. Again, that's April 27, 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. The venue is in SM Aura, Fort BGC at the SMX Convention Center. Okay, can I get an exclamation mark? Let's congratulate our winners, please. Also, if you haven't yet given us a like, please do so. We will appreciate your likes. We will appreciate your hearts. Thank you. Okay, let's continue. Let's do the second half of this session. Let's ask some questions. Okay, I'm trying to look for some questions now. And I had lots. Let me go back because we have lots that we missed out a while ago for our question. Oh, someone's asking, John on TikTok, why did you leave Air Asia? Uh, this is a backstory that I haven't told for too many folks. Although I do say it a lot in a lot of my motivational talks for private clients. Well, first thing, I was always aware that the corporate world is not where I wanted to be for the rest of my life. And the reason for that is because when I joined Apprentice Asia and I got to meet afterwards so many entrepreneurs, I told myself, okay, I want to have my own control of what I want to do with my life. And I think the route to entrepreneurship is going to be that. The second is because I always wanted to enter politics. And the reason for that is because I've always wanted to serve. I am a believer that there is so much opportunity to change in this country. And for someone who's always been a problem solver, wanting to fix EDSA, wanting to fix the airport, wanting to fix so many things, I told myself if I'm going to be a corporate guy for the rest of my life, I will not have both the perspective and the financial wealth to be able to pursue politics. So the best way is to pursue entrepreneurship. And so that was the reason why I also left. Number three, uh, in fact, I actually overstayed. My contract with AirAsia was only for 1 year. The winner of the show is only for 1 year, but I overstayed for 3 years because I've learned so many things. I wanted to keep on learning in that region of Malaysia and Singapore. Plus, flights were for free because if you work for an airline, you always we get 70%, sorry, 90% discount with our flights. So that was an opportunity for me to enjoy my youth. I would go to Bali every weekend. I would go to Bangkok. I would go to Hong Kong because flights were for free. Okay. Jella says, I will definitely vote for you, Jonathan. It's going to be a long route. I'm still open to the idea that maybe I will not pursue it later on, but right now my heart is into that. So I want to become a secretary for either tourism, education, or transportation. I want to run for Senate twice, and then I want to run for president. And I know it's a long shot to do that. If you've read my books, my first book was in 2013. I've always been vocal about that. So there. Okay, Maybell from YouTube. Let's answer this question now. Is it okay to do the bare minimum, even though you know that you can do much more than what you are asked to do? From a company perspective, it's not good. The company will not like this because a company will always want you to give your best and your bestest. Okay. Now, if the company is fine, and again, it's a subjective statement because maybe your bare minimum is this, but because the standards in your company are low, your bare minimum is already high. See what I mean? If you're really so good, maybe your bare minimum is even above average versus the rest of the company. So that will depend. But let's pretend that your bare minimum is really not the best. From a company's perspective, this is not, if I was your boss, I don't want you to work with me because I want you to go beyond and exceed expectations, right? Now, from a selfish perspective, from an employee's point of view, I think it will give you peace of mind. If you don't have any issues with being accomplished, if you don't have any issues that you are putting integrity and learning more about the world, and if you're at peace with it, why not? Because the time that you will save and the effort that you will save from not giving your best, you can now redirect that energy to your family, to your passion, to your hobbies, to traveling, to spending more time on Netflix. And when I was younger, please don't judge me on this, guys. But when I was younger, my mindset was, no, you always have to keep on achieving. You always have to be number one. And then when the pandemic happened, a part of me felt, I don't need to be number one. As long as I'm happy, as long as I'm able to once in a while reach out and help others, as long as I'm not hurting anyone, you do you. Because there is no rule in this world. Okay? And I will say this blankly, you don't know exactly what will happen to you also after you die. So there. Ken Bilen is saying, sometimes if you do more than the bare minimum, some people will think that you are a pabibo, right? Pabibo is like someone who's an eager beaver. And my answer to this is I don't care. I don't care. That's not my problem. If they cannot sleep at night because I'm so doing well with my job, that's your problem, not mine. I'm happy if I'm exceeding. I'm happy if I'm overachieving. And again, this is just me. I'm not imposing that to others. If you feel that you're contented with what you have, you do you. As long as you are fulfilling the responsibilities bestowed to you by the company, and it's fair based on the compensation you're also receiving from the company. Okay. Cami from YouTube is asking, how do you aim for a promotion? How long is the recommended tenure in the company? You aim for a promotion by vocalizing it first with your manager more than anything else. Okay. So when I say I vocalize it, every time I talk to my manager, especially the annual evaluation or the appraisal, I'll say, I am passionate with what I do with my job. I am keen to pursue the next level position. I would love to know what are the requirements for it. If you have a good manager, without you prompting it, they will say it to you. But you have to vocalize it because when you vocalize it, you invite your manager and the people around you to act in a way that they will push you with more challenges and more projects so that eventually you can prove to them that you are worthy of that promotion as well. Okay? How long is the recommended tenure in the company? It will depend. Typically, on average, an associate level to a managerial level can take 3 to 5 years to get promoted. If you're really that good, it can take 2 to 3 years. But please take note, the general rule is that the higher the position that you are aspiring, likely the longer years it will take because it will require mastery of more skills. Okay. Okay, let's go for TikTok because we have questions now here. Is it bad if you want to get promoted again? Not at all. Not at all. If you deserve it, if you're benefiting the company because every time you aspire for a higher promotion, you deliver the goods, you deliver revenues, you deliver whatever it is, not at all. I don't think you should feel guilty for being ambitious. For as long as you're achieving it with fairness and you're not hurting anyone, you're not greedy. It's just that you just have so much space to grow. And that's fine. Okay. Okay. Mon also had the same comment. Giving your bare minimum and delivering what was expected is okay. If you are at peace with your perspective, it is fine. For as long as you're not going to expect for a promotion, go. Give your bare minimum. Okay. Okay, someone's asking here on TikTok, John, what is your take on quiet quitting? I was quiet about this topic because I was so sick and tired of it. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, quiet quitting is not a new term. A lot of people on TikTok think that it's so new. It's not. In the 1990s, it's called coasting. And coasting is an act of not pursuing beyond what's being asked from you. Coasting meaning you just get the job done, you go home at 5 p.m. It's also giving your bare minimum, right? Very similar concept to quiet quitting. Quiet quitting, by the way, can be a very misleading term because when you do quiet quitting, you're not necessarily aspiring to quit, right? Maybe you are, but not everyone who does quiet quitting really wants to quit. It's just that they've already given up to giving their best. So that is the quitting that they've done. That is the part that they have quit. Again, from an employer's point of view, I do not like employees who are into quiet quitting. But at the same time, the reason why you are into quiet quitting is because you're not engaged with your job. So either there's something wrong with your role, there's something wrong with your manager and your colleagues, or number three, your passion is not aligned to what the company is also asking from you. Okay? Ooh, Mickey Mouse is asking this from TikTok. I love this question, by the way. What is your take on employees who are not interested to grow or to move up, right? And they're already good with their current role. So again, there is a term for this. In HR, we call it as individual contributors or ICs. So these are people wherein they're extremely good in what they do. They work with their teammates, they work with their manager, but they do not want to be promoted to a point that they will be given more responsibilities or that they will be assigned direct reports. So my take, and a good company will always accept everyone's aspirations, regardless if it is about getting promoted or sticking it out with their current position. So obviously, ideally, it's better to have employees who want to climb the corporate ladder. But if I have an employee who does not want to, I will support them because they can still perform their functions, they can still contribute to the company, and I will not even discriminate them badly, right? Some people will treat them different because they have vocalized that they don't want to get promoted. I think that they deserve to be treated the same way that star performers are being treated. Okay? So the best way to maximize them is assign them with certain projects and functions that will highlight and maximize their strengths. Something that they love doing and something that they can be good at. Okay? Because I don't want to force someone to be promoted to a manager if at the end of the day, they will also be bad in that job. Remember, you can be good as a waiter, but if I promote you as a manager, you may be so bad at it because being good as a waiter does not mean that you are good in administering or supervising people. Some people have that typical mindset. When you become extremely good as a waiter, you graduate to become a manager. When you're extremely good as a singer, you graduate to become a producer. When you're extremely good as a jeepney driver, you become an operator. When you become extremely good as a graphic designer, you become a creative director. It doesn't always equate that way because the skill set required is no longer about execution. It's about administration, general management. Some people are good in marketing, but when they become a CEO, they hate their job because their job entails HR, IT, and all these things. So I'm not going to force them to take on that job because they might even fail in it, which is going to be good, which is going to be bad for the company. Okay? Now, here's the second take. If you need to make sure that there is proper succession planning, that your current employees, one of them must be able to succeed you, you have to improve how you interview and how you recruit. Because when you recruit people and ask questions during the job interview, you must have an idea if they are keen to pursue future positions, higher positions as well. Okay? Okay, I've always wanted to answer this question because this is always mentioned in my inbox on LinkedIn. Someone's asking, John, does your manager have the right to treat you differently when you decline their promotion? Is it even okay to decline promotion? First and foremost, it is legal. There is nothing wrong if you want to decline the promotion. You just have to expect, however, that because everyone's optimistic that you would take up the role, people will be disappointed. And people will probably show some anger, show some frustration at you. But if you really have a good boss, they will not take it personally. But let's face it, in reality, there are bosses who will take it personally. I would recommend that you have a heart to heart talk with them. And most of the time, if you properly explain to them why you think you are not fit to become a manager, and that the company might even be in a worse situation if you are forced to become a manager, they will understand. And a great company should always find a way to understand. Otherwise, this is a company that is just not after. If they want to keep on promoting you and they are frustrated or mad at you, then in the first place, they wanted to promote you not because they care for you, but because they simply want to dump more work on you. That for me is a red flag. They're being selfish. Promotions are supposed to be about expansion of the role for the benefit of the company, but also as a way to recognize that this person is doing extremely well. That kind of promotion does not consider the value of the employee. All that they want is, I want to promote you because I need to justify that I should be adding more responsibilities onto your plate. And here's the bad side. Unfortunately, even if it's expected that promotions need to have salary increase, there are companies wherein they will promote you, but they will not promise any salary increase. And I think it's unfair. I think that's selfish. I think that that is bordering to taking advantage of you, especially if you happen to be the kind one who does not speak up. Oh, I like this response again from Mon. It's okay to decline a promotion if you explain it and let your concerns fly. They will buy it. What is bad is if you're not proactive anymore. True. If you decline a promotion, you have to keep on continuing your job and be as enthusiastic as you were before, right? It should not be a reason for you to just like let go. And maybe some people, don't get me wrong, I've seen some people who just let go of their enthusiasm because they felt that they were shortchanged because they were treated differently after declining the promotion. That's the sad part. And I don't have any answer to that because it happens in life, but the answer has nothing to do with competency. It has something to do with the personality of the leadership driving it. Okay, here's a job interview question. Jonathan, what is the best answer to the question, why did you leave your last company? You resigned because you realized that the job and company culture is not fit for you. So, two things. This is my personal mantra. First and foremost, while it is normal that our resignations are sometimes driven by personal conflicts or there was drama, I strongly suggest from a interviewee's point of view, okay? From the job applicant's point of view, keep the drama at bay during the job interview. Don't mention these things because you're going to be opening up Pandora's box, and the more you talk about the drama and the conflict, the more it will it will definitely diminish your chance of getting that job because they will think that you have a personality issue. So, what is the safest answer, but still genuine answer? And that is, I am ready to take on new opportunities. I am excited for a new challenge. I do not feel that I am growing anymore in this current company because I have been here for 7 years and the projects are not progressing or evolving as much as I want. And I do want a new company, a new department, or a new project that will excite me every morning. So focus the answer on the positive part. Okay? Of course, don't say it in a scripted way and say, "Oh, I want to apply in this company because I've heard great things about it." Interviewers and recruiters are smart. They will know it if you're faking it or you're just kissing some ass. Okay? So I would focus on the classic yet believable answer. Everyone is pursuing a new job because they want to look for greener pastures. Okay? Now, every time I say this, someone in the chat box will say, but if I was the interviewer, I would love to know what happened in your past job. What was the drama? Yes, you do. But I'm the interviewee. It's not in my interest to tell it to you, right? And that is what transactions are all about, right? Any job interview is all about revealing and hiding information and putting your best foot forward. Okay, let's look at TikTok now. Sorry, I've been neglecting TikTok questions now. Uh, why are some roles more important than the other? How do we get the same experience as our teammates? I'm not sure if you have a deeper question to this, but for me, this is a very logical. This for me is a straightforward question, and that is because certain roles have more expertise required, and certain roles have more risks required, and that's why they're more important, and they're also more compensated. There are also more investments involved for you to be able to capture that role. Ooh, does this happen? I've never seen this happen. A person was promoted twice, meaning within the same year. A person was promoted twice last 2022. Do you think this is a red flag? I've never. Well, first and foremost, just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean that it's not possible. Maybe it can happen, but it is not usually typical for someone to get promoted twice in just a span of 12 months. And the reason for that is because it takes time to master a certain skill. It is also because companies promote based on batches. They usually don't just promote one person. They do it in like, we've selected the 10 eligible people at this time of the year. Maybe this person's just really amazing. Okay. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily a red flag. It could be a concern because obviously I think I have an idea where you're getting through and what you're trying to say, and that is maybe this person got promoted out of nepotism or favoritism. That is possible. Okay. Okay. Let's ask. Ooh, someone saying this. Sir, I admire you. This was on TikTok. I admire you being intelligent, but na-off ako na nanonood ka ng Maria Clara. Ang cheap lang. Ooh, you have to watch it because the production value is just amazing. When I say amazing, it is not normal for a typical Filipino teleserye with bird's eye view shots because that usually requires a crane. And the fact that they invested on that, I am amazed. But that's the superficial part. You know why I like about it? The storytelling, the script for me is so world class. It's so hard, you know, the idea of inserting someone from the modern time and putting her in the Spanish era is a classic. You can say it's a gas tactic, but the way they were able to do it, and the way they were able to put some punchlines about modern language versus Spanish language, etc. I'm just so proud because that's not something that a lot of Filipinos were able to do in the cinema world or in the artistic world. So I think you should watch it. Also, the reason why I love it more than anything else is because I'm a big fan of No Limit Tangere. Right? I think it's one of the reasons why I became so bolder into wanting to enter politics because it's one of those books where it made you so concerned about the injustices between the rich and the poor. My favorite chapter in No Limit Tangere is chapter 34, where Crisostomo Ibarra really just had enough. He had to shout and answer back to Padre Damaso. I forgot what was the scene. I think this was like the launching of a new building. I forgot what it was, but maybe I should do that tonight. I should check that chapter 34. But that was one of my favorite scenes. Okay. Um, so Miss 90s Baby, if you haven't seen it yet, before you conclude that part, I recommend that you watch. And when I say watch, don't just watch one episode, watch at least 10 episodes. You'll have an idea what I'm talking about. Okay, someone's asking, micromanagement in positive way, please. Yes, micromanagement done positively is called hand holding or guiding. And I am a believer that you should do it at the start when the employee has not yet proven that they can get the job done. Because if you just let them go immediately, they will impose their own standards. They have to understand that when they accomplish a certain project, it must meet the expectation set by the company. So sometimes you have to be copied in all emails. Sometimes, for a certain amount of time, you really have to be in all meetings and that you have to preside it first before you let them present the slides. I'm a believer of that. Okay? Being a coach at the start requires you telling them point by point, bit by bit on what they need to do. And once they start showing some signs that they can get it, then you slowly let them do things on their own. And then you graduate into supervision, you graduate into observing, and then you graduate into just being a coach. Right? Ayan, Lulu Paco Garcia was saying it was the groundbreaking of a school. Yes, that was it. I think it was a time na parang may pala sila na hinuhukay eh. I forgot what it was, but that was my favorite chapter in No Limit Tangere. Also, I think, can I just insert an extra comment? I think we have an amazing No Limitang program in our school. So I finished my high school in Colegio de San Juan de Letran, and there is such a rich history and culture for Spanish literature. So our school is the oldest all-boys school in Asia, built in 1620. It's still there in Intramuros. And my teacher, her name is Mama Ching, and she passed away a few years ago. So amazing, so inspiring. And every time she talks about each chapter, we would extend for 10 to 15 minutes lagi, such that our economics teacher afterwards would get angry because she always eats up time because the discussion is so rich about everything. So, yeah. Yeah, so they won the bronze medal in the New York festival. I saw that as well. Thank you for mentioning that, which means it validates it's a world-class piece. Okay, let's cover a question now. Any advice when your manager is verbally abusive? Says Shasha. Shouting, but the rank is too high. Holds. Okay. Tanjiro, come here. If you wanna show yourself to the camera. This is my dog, by the way, Tanji. Oops. So, what do you do if you have a manager who's like that? Number one, I think that there is no excuse to hurt someone's feelings, even in a corporate world. Don't get me wrong. When I was younger, I would do that. There are times I would still do that. Uh, I would pause and tell that manager and say, while I do understand that something has been done, it could be a mistake or whatever, I don't think that you have the right to say this to any person. And just because that they are your direct report doesn't give you the right to put someone into that spot. I I will say it's a red flag if this is still being tolerated by other leaders in the company. And that means that they think that the person can get away just because he happens to have a high position. This is not a company that I want to work for. If you think that you can get some allies from other senior leaders, I would want to do a heart-to-heart talk from them with them and ask for some advice on what you can do about this other manager. Because obviously, this person who curses does not curse everyone in the company. They will likely not do that to the other senior leaders, right? So, or if you can, do a heart-to-heart talk with this person and say, this is not how you want to be treated at all. I've done this to someone, by the way. The person understood what I was saying. He did not change. But ever since that happened, he wasn't cursing me as much anymore. He was still cursing a lot of other people, but he changed the way he did it to me frequently. So that was part of the solution, I guess. Erwin. Someone's asked, we're having this problem. Someone's asking, when will your books be available in TikTok shop? Here's the problem. The books category in Lazada, Shopee, and TikTok are all prohibited categories, meaning you have to be invited first. So because I'm new in TikTok, I've only opened my TikTok because I refused to be in TikTok for a few years until I felt I should do this. We're still have a pending application. So once that works out, we'll be very happy to sell in TikTok. In the meantime, you can buy our books in National Bookstore, Fully Booked, Lazada, and Shopee as well. Okay, someone's asking, are the tickets that I won are transferable to other people? Yes, you can transfer them to any person. Please indicate the name and the email address. Okay? Do you travel to a clan? Of course, that's where my parents come from. I was in a clan last year as well. Is it a red flag? Okay, sorry. No, I've already read this a while ago. Is it okay to job hop from one job to another, especially when your salary increases every time you move? From a selfish perspective, job hopping will do that for you. From an employer's perspective, I don't think you're going to be the priority all the time, even if you're so amazing. Because if I was the recruiter, a part of me will think, is this person going to stay for the longest time? Because if you're really an amazing talent, I want to keep you in the company for 3 years or 5 years. Perhaps you can be a potential CEO also. But if you've had a history of job hopping, every 2 years or 1 year you've been leaving, it is logical to assume that you will do the same thing with me. So if there are so many other amazing talents out there, why would I risk it with you when I can have more assurance with another talent who's been proven with the track record of being in a company for a long time? Okay. Okay, let's give away prizes now. Let's do this before we end the session. I want to give away a 500 peso gift certificate from our sponsor, and that is Osh, or Oh So Healthy Snacks. So from our folks from YouTube, I'm using StreamYard, which means I can post some visuals. I can't do that on how do you call this? I can't do that on TikTok, but this is our sponsor. That is, I'm not sure if this is inverted, by the way, so sorry for that. But these are healthy snacks, and these are all fun, fruit and vegetable flavored, and they're baked, not fried, and they're also gluten free. And we're going to be giving away 500 pesos. One winner only will be selected across the different platforms. So, guys, it's the fastest finger who's going to win. Okay? If you guys are ready, could you please give me a letter R? I will appreciate that. Give me a letter R. Are you all cool? Okay. Thank you. So, my question is this. I'll be asking a. Let me ask a trivia question. Ano bang question na pwedeng i-ask? Something that you cannot Google easily. So that this is not about who Googles the fastest. Um, okay. Okay. I think I have one. So when I joined a quiz show in GMA 7 when I was in high school, this was one of my favorite questions that I answered correctly. So, what type of plant? Yeah, are you guys ready? Fingers on the keyboard. What type of plant is wheat? It falls under a certain category. What type is wheat? Okay. I'll give you a few seconds. Again, first person, regardless of the chat box, will get this right, is going to win the 500 peso. What type of plant? I'm seeing some answers now. I'm going to float for a few seconds. Let's give it 50 seconds. What type of plant is wheat? What category is it? Anyone? Okay. I seem to be seeing the correct answer now in the chat box. Let's see here. Let's see on TikTok as well. Okay. A lot of you got it right, but I need to check who got it first. The correct answer is it falls under the grass category. Galing, diba? It's a grass. Okay. So my winner, ladies and gentlemen, trying to look at the chat box and the timestamps. Okay. Okay, my winner is from Facebook. You guys are so fast. My winner, ladies and gentlemen, the name is Joel Carabio Cañeda. Joel Carabio Cañeda. Congratulations. Right answer is grass. Okay. All right. Let's. John Paul says, "I want to buy a book with your signature in it." On April 27 to 29, we are at the SMX Convention Center. You can just drop by, just knock. And during break time, like lunchtime, we're selling our books. So I can sign the books for you if you want. Okay, 3 more questions and let's wrap this up because I have to work. I have to go back to Canva and do some posters. Some people are telling me, by the way, John, you have so many other things to do. Why are you the one doing the posters for your events? And I totally get it. This is something that I should not be spending my time on because I've got other important things to do. But you know what? When I use Canva and I get to finish a poster, I feel like I'm letting go of stress. I feel like I'm playing a video game. When I get to choose the colors, the fonts, I'm a 90s kid. So if you compare this versus using Photoshop, Canva is just way out there. It's out of everyone's league. So it makes me feel like I don't know, can I use the word orgasmic feeling when I do it? So it feels like I'm doing something that makes me happy. So I do Canva at night. I do my, we do the posters. Okay. Ooh, Deb Sexy. How do I tell my boss that she's one of the primary reasons why I am resigning, or should I? Off the bat, I don't think it's necessary for you to say it. In the first place, when you resign, you're not required to tell the reason why you are resigning. You just simply say that you want to pursue other greener pastures. That's it. The law does not require you, neither should a company require you to tell what's the reason. You just resign. That's it. I do recommend you, however, that if you are given the chance, share what do you think are the points of improvement of your manager, especially if you have a really good manager. She will ask that question. If not, oof, I'm torn because this is not a question of what should you do. It's a question of what suits you. Because I've also been in situations wherein if you force telling it to your manager and it causes conflict, it will just ruin your peace of mind. So the benefit of telling it to her and she isn't even open to feedback anyway, then what's the point? Right? It just muddled your universe. You were better off not saying anything at all. That's a possibility that you should consider. So you have to weigh. If your boss is open minded, go. I think she will appreciate it without you having to say that she was the reason or he was the reason why you're leaving. Okay. By the way, something tells me that freelancing or side hustling isn't a topic that interests you guys. And the reason for that is because no one's asking that question. Most of your questions are about conflicts and resigning and job hunting. So that's fine. If I'm able to help, let's go for that route. Okay. Ooh. Question from Facebook. What if the boss wanted to know the reason of your resignation? Also, and the company you're transferring to and the salary they offered. You have all the rights to decline. You have all the rights to decline. If, number one, that is data privacy more than anything else. It is your private information with the amount of money that you are going to be compensated with. If you want an easy answer so that they will not force you, just say, I am not allowed by the other company to reveal it. Right? If you are asking me for that, be the one to talk to the other company if you want. I bet they will not be able to cover that afterwards. By the way, this is a dolly issue. If you have a company who will not issue your clearance or who will not issue your last amount of salary just because they need to know the reason, this is illegal. You don't need to be a lawyer to know that. Okay? It's also a bad company more than anything else. Right? It's a company that just wants to wreak havoc in your life because they want to make you feel sad because you're finally leaving them. Okay? Sherwin is asking on TikTok, company politics diminishes good culture. Your thoughts? Yes, of course. Anything that destroys any good culture is going to be destroyed the moment that fairness, integrity, all these things are destroyed. Why do I want to work with a company wherein no matter how hard I work, someone else is going to be rewarded for it, not me? Right? So, yeah, unfortunately, these companies do exist. Okay? Okay, Rodel's asking, you have a new boss, everyone is on a clean slate. How do you stand out, or do you even have to care? You should care if you want to be promoted. You should care if you are a person who derives pleasure in life because you have accomplished something. You don't need to care if, even if you do not over exceed expectations, your bare minimum is already sufficient. It's already enough. They are already, it's something that the company can be thankful for. Okay. But if it's just a matter of being able to stand out, I think exceeding expectations will always make you be remembered. Being mindful of the small detail. I'll give you an example. Your boss asks you to create a database. Let's say, for example, Create a database of clients who attended the webinar and put them into a spreadsheet with their names and their email addresses. So you were able to accomplish it. Doing the bare minimum is doing it as you were told. Exceeding expectation is you discovered that the information requested included also the mobile numbers, which the participants gave with consent. And you decided to put another column in the report with the mobile numbers, even if you were not being asked. Those things are going to be remembered because they are extra touches that shows even if you're not being told to do it, you have all the intentions because you care for it, because it's what's best for the company. Okay. Oh, okay. Here's one more. I love this question, by the way. For a new or tenured leader, what is your advice in terms of enforcing corrective discipline? Is it okay to be lenient at the start, or should I deliver disciplinary action right away? I think that anything that involves crime or involves a grave activity, whether you're new or not, should be given disciplinary action because consistency is the key for you to be credible. I do think, however, that if you're a new leader, more than making yourself look like you're the commander or you're the dictator, I think you should build relationships with your people. Know who they are, let them know who you are, right? As much as you can, if you can, do some coffee, do some dinner, try to know their personalities. Because we all know this, guys. Professional trust always starts with personal bonds, especially in a Filipino, Asian culture. We often do better when we feel that we have something in common with the person next to us. So, win the hearts of people, earn their trust, and then continue doing the corrective action if you need to. So, I think what Artnil is saying here is that in the first few weeks or months, if someone makes a mistake, should I just let it go so that I earn the reputation that I'm not too strict? Again, it's a case-to-case basis. If it's something that you think that is done regularly anyway, meaning, for example, being late, okay? If you think that this is something that's done across the organization and the employees are still able to get the job done, I don't think you need to be that party pooper who's going to call them out just because they have to be on time. Because if they're able to deliver their job, even if they're not in the office on the dot at 8 a.m., and the rest of the company does it as part of their culture, ride the culture. You're the newcomer. They've been there for quite a while. Okay? But if it's a grave offense, I think even if you're new or you're old, whatever your position is, you should impose it. Consistency is important because the moment a rule is executed inconsistently, it loses the credibility also. Are kids allowed to enter on your live talk? Uh, I guess so. Shari's asking here. I guess so because I think everything here is PG-13 anyway. I'm just not sure if they will relate to what I'm saying because everything here is about what you do after university or after college. Okay, let's look for more. Oh, you guys are giving me really good questions that I don't want to end the live session immediately. Okay, since I'm enjoying it, let's answer a few more. Um, what? Oh, I like this question. This is like a beauty pageant question. What's your life hashtag now, Jonathan? Mm, gosh, I've got so many things. Uh, I will say this hashtag put down your phone because I think reels and TikTok videos have been creeping into my life. You know, when you're, okay, guys, sorry, I'm going to say this. When you're pooping in the morning, the first thing that you do, and you scroll on a video on TikTok, and then you scroll again. And by the time that you've checked the watch, you've been scrolling for like 10 minutes already, and you've pooped already a few minutes ago. I think it eats up so much of my time. So I would say hashtag put down your phone, focus on what needs to get done. You can check your TikTok or your Reels while you're traveling or when you have spare time. In the meantime, you don't have enough spare time, John. Okay. Thank you. I love that question, by the way. How would I know? This is from Pierre Dominic. How would I know if I'm ready to step up in my career from quality evaluator to team leader? You should be able to know because your company should have the metrics, and you should be asking this. And a good company should have this. So, for example, I'll give an example. My line of work for the past 15 years has been marketing. So, marketing usually has five core skills: the ability, creativity and innovation, strategic thinking, network building. In most of the companies I've worked for, so I work for Globe Telecom, I work for GlaxoSmithKline, I work for AirAsia. In all of these companies, there's always a set of five skills, and they usually have a number, a score of 1 to 5, five being the highest. And every time I have an evaluation meeting with my manager once a year or twice a year, there is a ranking of a score. So creativity and innovation, Jonathan is 4.5 or 3.5. In order for you to be promoted, you have to be 5 across all the metrics. Great companies exercise that to determine if someone is worthy of a promotion. Otherwise, if they don't, it's subjective. It's based on, does your boss think that you deserve it? Does HR think? Does the business own? If it's a small company, it's usually the business owner who decides, which is not always good because that means you're dependent on only one person rather than a deliberations committee who can influence each other. Okay? So there should be metrics. Metrics makes it fair for everyone to be judged in the same way. Okay? Okay. Abijoy, any advice on how do I deal with my team members who are plastic? If it's not hurting you, if it's not ruining your mental peace, I will just this is just me. I will shrug it because I would put my energy on something else. I would put my energy on finishing episode 9 and the last episode of Beef because I haven't finished that yet. I would look for other things worth doing. Okay? If, however, it has come to a point wherein it has been damaging your confidence, you can't sleep at night, it's the first thing you think of in the morning, in the evening, you should confront. I would always recommend to confront someone and share that something is not right and talk about how it can be resolved. Again, that's me. Guys, by the way, when you watch these kinds of live sessions with me, please expect that my bias is always going to be about confrontation because I'm the type who confronts. Okay? And I'm saying this because take everything with a grain of salt. When you listen to people, that can be me or someone else, always think that their advice is coming from their universe, their experiences in the past, and what style works for them. Because I am an extrovert and because I'm very outspoken, being able to confront is easy for me. It may not be easy for others. And if it's not going to be easy for you, it may not also be the best option for you. Okay. All right. What else? I think I need to end this now with two more questions because I have to walk Tanjiro before we go to sleep and before I go back to some of my Canva uh, slides. Also, folks on TikTok. So here's the catch. I think a lot of folks on TikTok don't know what I do and what I have been doing for the past few years. So I'm gonna strongly recommend our TikTok folks catch us on Facebook and on LinkedIn because for the past 10 years we've posted, I will say, thousands of videos and posts about career management. So I see a lot of post questions about getting bullied, getting promoted, etc. We have so many of these on Facebook. We have lots of free webinars. We have we have 214 free webinars posted on our Facebook Live since 2020. So if it's your first time to discover me on TikTok, I would strongly recommend you catch us on Facebook. because I've only been on TikTok last November. We haven't been, so I would assume I'm a new face to some folks on TikTok as well. Okay. Oh, I like this. Another question. This is also my dilemma, by the way. How do you balance maintaining standards and still being compassionate on shortcomings at work? I will be compassionate if the mistake is done once, perhaps twice. I will be compassionate if the mistake was done because I myself, as the manager, did not properly train that person. That's why she keeps on making that mistake. I will not be compassionate and I will strictly enforce the rules, however, if the mistake has been done repeatedly, 4 times, 5 times, despite multiple trainings, despite multiple one on one sessions. Because there has to be a limit. If you will keep on becoming compassionate, it's no longer a job, it's no longer work, it's a hobby, it's friendship, it's charity. And we're not in a charity business here, we're at work. And professionalism should always supersede any other emotions at the end of the day. I hope you do this often, says Ken. We try to. As I always say, I do it because it helps me distress. Because being able to talk and maybe knowing somehow that a sentence that I say can change someone's perspective about their decisions, that makes me happy. Is it worth to get promoted to the next rank? Says Debzexi. If you're just going to do the same job, that is not a promotion because a promotion requires an expansion of your role. A promotion requires an expectation that your skill set is above, higher than what you've been doing in the past. So I will not call it a promotion at all. Okay? It could be a new project, it could be an OIC position, but I don't think it's going to be a promotion. Okay, let's do one last. Okay, one last. Wow, it's already 10:47, guys. So I need to do a one last. Okay. See, TikTok just told me, great job. You've gone live for 90 minutes. Don't forget to take a break. Oh, you guys have no idea. I do 8-hour workshops, and in those 4-hour morning sessions, I don't take a break at all. And you get used to it. Your lungs become better as a speaker because you have to know how to speak continuously. Uh, okay. This is not my last question, but let me just call it out. Berna's asking, what if my team member says that he or she doesn't want to career growth? Support them. As long as they're getting the job done. I mentioned this a while ago, earlier part of the session. As long as they're getting their job done, they're not hurting anyone, they're still contributing based on the expectations set to them, support them. And do not force and impose that they have to become a manager or leader because not everyone is going to be fit for it. Okay. Oh, this one just came out. Okay. Let me cover this as a last question. Lian Micaela, by the way, says, shout out. There you go. That's my shout out. Desiree Bangilan is asking on Facebook, what do you need to do when you feel that your subordinates are not really committed to their job? I think that commitment is based on two things. Number one, it's fit to the job. Most people are not committed because they don't like the job. Because they thought when applying that this was what they're going to do, but when they were doing the job, it didn't meet their expectations. So this is an issue of whether they should even continue that job. The other reason why someone's not committed to their job, it could be an issue, it could be a conflict of interest or personality. Remember, guys, most people quit their jobs not because they hate their job. Most of the time, based on research, is because they hate their boss. So there could be a long-standing tension or conflict that hasn't been vocalized, so they're not giving their best. because all that they want is to be able to get the bare minimum again and get their salary and their paychecks. Okay. I would do, to answer your question, a heart to heart talk again. This is not gonna get solved by a silent treatment approach. You have to ask, John, I've been noticing for the past 3 months that you have not been doing X, Y, and Z. Last year, I've noticed when you were new, you were exceeding expectations, you were going beyond what's being asked. But lately, I've noticed X, Y, and Z. Is there something that has changed? Is there something that you need me to enable for you to be able to get that spark once again? You need to ask those questions as a manager. Okay. If there was a counter, like a buzzer counter that will count the number of times that I will say do a heart to heart talk, probably would exceed 100 times every session that we do. Okay, gladiators and suits. I have to end this session now because we have to do other things and I have to walk my dog. So I'm going to say thank you for joining us. We're going to go live again tomorrow. I will try to do it at 9 o'clock again. Tanjiro, my dog, needs to be walked now. Tanji, come here. Okay, he's gonna come here. Come. He's gonna say goodbye to you now. He's gonna go up first. There you go. Okay. Say goodbye now. Say goodbye. And say hello to them. Oh, wait, let me hide. There you go. Angie, say hi. Say hi to them. Say hi. Say hello. Okay. Thank you. We hope to catch you. And again, if you're interested to join our career workshops, public speaking, business writing, leadership, social media marketing, and one of my favorite, how to manage irate customers if you're into customer service. We all have that happening this week from April 27 to April 29. Log on to our website, jonathanyabut.com, and you can register and enroll in our workshops. Thank you, guys.